Will it ever be possible for Nigeria to achieve 100% electricity availability? Well, good morning and welcome to Business Week. Over the next hour, I'll be bringing you some snapshots of some of the top stories and events that made global headlines during the trading week, which ended yesterday. I'm Rolake Akinkugbe-Filani. We have a lot to get through today, but first let's take a look at how the European markets performed as it Friday, the 12th of May. First, Euro Stoxx 600 closed at an all-share index of 465.49, up by 0.4%. The London FTSE all-share closed at an index of 7,754.6, and it was up by 0.31%. The markets in Germany saw the DAX close at 15,913.8, up by 0.5%, while the CAC 40 in Paris ended the week at 7,414.85, gaining 0.45%. And finally, the markets in Spain closed at 0.56% higher with an all-share index of 9,234.1, being the last market to close positively. To the Nigerian stock markets now. At the end of the last week, they were trading on the NSE a total of 1.417 billion shares in more than 5,000 deals, corresponding to a market value of 10.98 billion naira were traded. The current market capitalization of the Nigerian Stock Exchange is 28.43 trillion naira. And finally, here's a look at Wall Street as at the 12th of May. And now for some top stories. In the U.S., Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen has warned of a constitutional crisis that risks economic and financial catastrophe if Congress does not raise the federal debt limit, with the government in danger of running out of cash in the absence of new borrowing capacity. The White House and Republican lawmakers are in a stalemate over lifting the debt ceiling, which Yellen has said could be breached as early as June 1. Her comments came 2 days before U.S. President Joe Biden was scheduled to meet congressional leaders in new talks on the fiscal impasse. The federal government of Nigeria stated this week that the 650,000 barrel per day Dangote Refinery is set to launch operations this month. The $19 billion facility will reportedly be officially opened on May 22 before President Muhammadu Buhari leaves office, according to the corporation. According to a source close to the factory, preparations for the opening are nearly complete and operations will be expanded gradually. The facility, estimated to be worth over $19 billion, is an integrated refinery project under construction in the Lekki Free Trade Zone area. It is expected to be Africa's biggest oil refinery and the world's biggest single-train facility. UK Business Secretary Kemi Badenoch is requesting an emergency meeting with Revolut out of concern that the $33 billion technology business may leave the UK out of irritation with the country's high taxes and real bureaucracy. After criticizing Britain's extreme bureaucracy just a few days prior, sources at the UK Department for Business and Trade revealed that they intended to meet with Nikolay Storonsky, chief executive of Revolut. Revolut, which has its headquarters in London, is reportedly being courted by officials in France and Spain as its executives get increasingly impatient with the delays in obtaining a UK banking license. The US Fed has warned that the recent banking turmoil could fuel a broad credit crunch that risks slowing the US economy and dealing a blow to asset prices. In its semi-annual financial stability report released on Monday, the US Central Bank said that despite decisive actions by regulators and officials to tackle recent bank failures, worries about the outlook could lead to banks and other financial institutions to further contract the supply of credit to the economy. Back in Nigeria, the central bank stated on Tuesday that representative offices of foreign banks in the country are not allowed to engage in an array of financial-related services, including the provision of services designated in Nigeria as banking businesses. The central bank disclosed this in a circular on guidelines for the regulation of the representative offices of foreign banks in Nigeria dated May 3, and directed to all banks and other financial institutions. The The circular, which was obtained from the bank's website, was signed by the CBN Director of Financial Policy and Regulation, Mohamed Musa. The central bank further detailed the financial requirements for the offices of foreign banks to include a non-refundable application fee of 5 million naira and a non-refundable licensing fee of 10 million naira. LinkedIn, the social media network owned by Microsoft that focuses on business professionals, said on Monday it would cut almost 800 jobs as demand wavers. It will also be looking to close down its China-focused job application operations. LinkedIn, which has 20,000 employees, joins other major tech firms, including its parent Microsoft, in laying off workers amid a weakening global economic outlook. US bank Goldman Sachs has agreed to pay $215 million to settle a long-running class action lawsuit accusing the Wall Street bank of paying women less than men. Goldman Sachs, one of the world's largest investment banks, settled the case with lawyers representing more than 2,000 female associates and vice presidents. The lawsuit, which was set to go to trial in July, alleged that the bank underpaid women compared to men and gave women worse performance reviews and passed women over for promotions. Women who had worked for the investment bank first filed the lawsuits in 2010. Shares of Airbnb fell as much as 10% in extended trading on Tuesday, despite first quarter earnings that beat analyst estimates on the top and bottom lines. Total revenue rose 20% year-on-year, and Airbnb swung to a net profit of $117 million, making it the first time the company has been profitable during its first quarter. Despite that, the figures also offered slightly weaker than expected guidance and a cautious outlook for the current quarter growth. The government of Kenya has proposed multiple amendments to the finance bill for 2023. The proposals aim to expand the tax base for the government, owing to revenue issues that have forced it to at some point delay the salaries of its employees. One of the proposals in the bill is a taxation of payments made to digital creators. Under the current tax regime defined by the Income Tax Act, certain digital payments made are subject to withholding tax, while others may not fall under the provisions of the Income Tax Act. Payments made by taxpayers to digital content creators will be subject to a 15% withholding tax rate, according to the new proposed legislation. Back in Nigeria, Access Bank recorded the highest customer loans amongst Nigerian banks as of December 2022, with 5.1 trillion naira, representing an increase of 22.6% when compared to 4.16 trillion naira recorded in the prior year. The bank also recorded the highest interest income during the period at 827 billion naira. In second place is Zenith Bank, whose customer loans stood at 4.01 trillion naira as of the review period, making it the second largest bank by credit to customers. In the third spot is UBA. The Pan-African Bank reported customer loans of 3.14 trillion naira, in contrast to 2.68 trillion naira recorded in the previous year. The European Union has set out a number of rules in its efforts to regulate the use of artificial intelligence, including restrictions on ChatGPT following months of debate. European legislators have agreed on a total ban of facial recognition for surveillance of citizens, predictive policing, and controls on general-purpose artificial intelligence such as ChatGPT. The agreement from MEPs signals the start of AI talks between EU member states, the European Commission, and the European Parliament. Walt Disney's streaming service Disney Plus saw a loss of 4 million subscribers in the first quarter of 2023. The numbers mark a continued decline for the streamer, having lost 2.4 million subscribers in its last quarter of 2022. The largest chunk of subscriber losses this time around are in India and parts of Asia, where Disney Plus is branded as Disney Plus Hotstar due to the company recently losing the streaming rights to the Indian Premier League's cricket matches. Despite the subscriber losses, the Walt Disney Company stated that it has cut streaming losses by $400 million from the previous quarter. The company's quarterly results did, however, meet Wall Street projections. Nigeria's president-elect Bola Tinubu on Wednesday left Nigeria for Europe on a working visit. According to a statement released on Wednesday by the Office of the President-elect and signed by spokesperson Tunde Raman, Mr. Tinubu will meet with investors and other important allies during the visit to promote investment opportunities in Nigeria and the readiness of his administration to create a business-friendly environment through policies and regulations. Now, big news this week, Elon Musk has named NBC Universal's head of global advertising as the new CEO of Twitter, although he will continue to have a senior role at the social media platform. Linda Yaccarino will take over as chief executive officer from the billionaire, who has proven to be controversial and unpredictable in the role since he bought the company, for $44 billion last October. Musk indicated that he will still play a prominent role at Twitter, tweeting that Yaccarino will focus on business operations while he will concentrate on product design and new technology. Prior to confirming the new CEO's appointment, Musk had also tweeted that he would become executive chair. Global audit firm PWC is racing to contain the global fallout of an Australian leak scandal involving its business after it emerged that the firm used confidential government tax plans to advise tech clients. Emails released by an Australian Senate committee showed that PWC had used information received during its work with the government to win business by advising corporate clients on new anti-tax avoidance rules. Australian politicians have called for the partners who received the emails, as well as the clients that benefited from the information, to be named. Well, that's it for the market roundup.